you have the one and unique Mads Singers from SEO Mastery Summit. Hello, Mads.
Hello, hello, Yannis. How are you?
I'm better and better, and this is a slogan.
Good, good.
How about you?
I am fantastic, fantastic.
Where do we find you now? Where are you now?
I have just returned actually this weekend. I've just gotten back from Chiang Mai SEO, and I'm now back in where I spent a good bit of my year, which is in Saigon in Vietnam.
So now, are you in Saigon, I think, right
Yeah,
now?
I am. Yeah,
Or Ho Chi Minh
Ho
City?
Chi Minh. Same.
Same. Okay, so uh, the first question I would like to ask you first, thank you for coming and joining my little YouTube channel. And it is the first time for the Greek, I think, audience that we have someone from the international SEO sphere, management sphere, human development, PR, HRM. And the first question is, who is Matt Singers? And before interviewing you, I just asked these questions in ChatGPT as well. And here what it has returned.
Yeah,
Who is Matt Singers? Are you curious to learn what ChatGPT says about you?
yeah. I
Okay.
have no idea what it's saying, but I hope it's good.
Thanks, God. It was good. Good question is the answer. Matt Singers is not a singer. He's a business management coach, consultant, and speaker. Here are some key points about who he is. He founded Matt Singers Management, a coaching company focused on effective people management, team structure, and leadership. mattsingers.com, it was the source. He's also the creator of the SEO Mastery Summit, a well-known event in the SEO and online business world. This was taken from James Dolly's website. He has worked with big companies like Shell, Coca-Cola, Xerox, and IBM, helping entrepreneurs and organizations scale through better management. Same source, jamesdolly.com. His training is based on the DISC personality framework, which he uses to teach delegation, feedback, performance, leadership. This the sources from Everybody Wiki, and he also hosts a podcast and management on management and leadership. Everybodywiki.com is the source. Is that all correct?
It sounds almost correct. So I have not worked in Shell and Coca-Cola, but I've worked with people from Shell and Coca-Cola. But otherwise, it's pretty accurate. Pretty accurate.
Yeah. How can someone like you do so many things? Because you also have a consulting company and a public relationship company, human growth company, and holding an SEO summit.
Yeah, I'm really bored, but luckily I have a fantastic team. So I have a few different companies, as you said. Like my personal core passion is leadership and management coaching and consulting. That's what I absolutely love doing more than anything. Besides that, we have a big recruitment company. So we do a lot of recruitment, particularly in South Africa, where we absolutely love to hire some amazing people. And we help companies all around the world do that. So that's called Aristo Sourcing. Then I have the SEO Mastery Summit, which we run currently once a year. So it doesn't take too much time, but it's a great opportunity to bring together a lot of amazing people to host a lot of fantastic people in a great place like Saigon. So that's great. Then I have a cool SaaS tool called HeyRamp, and HeyRamp is all about sort of managing people in a tool. So it's a good tool to do one-on-ones, performance review, personality testing, and so on with. And that's going fantastically well. And then lastly, we have a lead generation company that that's focused on generating leads, mostly for ourselves and people around us. So,
Nice. How was the name of the SaaS company you talked about? Hey Ras.
that's called HeyRamp,
Hey Ram.
RAMP. Yeah, HeyRamp.
Okay. And what does this tool do?
Yeah, so it's mostly for managing people you have on board. So I mean, if you have 1 or 2 people, you probably don't need it so much. But if you have if you're getting to 5, 10, 20 people, then having a tool like HeyRamp to manage the people, make sure they get good feedback and so on is very good and very helpful. So that's what HeyRamp does.
Okay, so we can find heyramp.com, and it also comes with a free trial.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. And we're going to talk about more the SEO Mastery Summit in Saigon. How
Yes.
how comes someone from management consulting get to a technical SEO thing?
Well, for multiple reasons. So I built my first content affiliate site back in 2007. So I have been in around SEO for many years. I probably know more about SEO than most people, but I try not to talk about it so much because my big hesitation with SEO is that you have a lot of SEOs that know a lot of SEO, and they're always trying to learn one more little thing, but their business skills and their management skills is often a lot less. So the point is that when it comes to making money, it's not the best SEO, it's not the smartest people who make the most money. It's typically the people with a good combined skills, right? So to succeed in the world of SEO, if you look at most of the people in SEO that makes the most money, they're not the best SEOs. Uh, every time you mention someone like Neil Patel, every SEO is hating on him because he's very good at making money and he's maybe not that excellent at SEO. But in the end of the day, being great at SEO and not making so much money is, well, it's not what I recommend to do, right? So my whole focus and my like what I spend the majority of my time on is really helping SEOs, wherever they have agencies or in-house or whatever. I really spend my time helping them become better at business and better at management, because those are the things. If you start growing your management skills and your business skills, that is what's going to enable you to make a lot more money. It's not magically learning 3 more tricks about how to change schema or how to add some magical AI flip to something, right? But generally, the money comes when you understand business and leadership and management, and you're able to take that to another level. I've always looked at SEO as a great traffic channel. So for all of our companies, like if the way I look at SEO is this is a channel to generate traffic. It is not an occupation. Well, there's obviously people who are SEOs, but for me, SEO is a traffic channel, and it's the whole point is how can you generate the most value with traffic, right? Whereas a lot of the time, what I've seen over the years is that there's SEOs that are really good at generating traffic, but they don't know how to monetize it, right? So they generate hundreds of thousands or even millions of traffic, and then they make 5 grand a month or 10 grand a month or something, right? But really, when you do all the hard work to get the traffic, the core thing to focus on is how to actually monetize it, right? So the business side of things is what I'm very interested in. And yeah, the SEO Mastery Summit Saigon. I've spoken at SEO events, probably hundreds by this time, over the last yeah, I don't know, probably 10 years, 10, 11, 12 years. So I've been speaking for many years, and yeah, I love sharing. And for me, I see a lot of events around the world. Some events are good, some are less good. And one of the benefits for me was with doing an event is very much showing people how to do it. So I do believe we are one of the absolute best events in the world for multiple reasons. But one of the key things for me, it's not. I wish we were the worst, because that would mean that when I go around to events all over the place, that they were better, and that's really the goal for me. So the goal for me is more better events all over the world. I want more better events because I spend a lot of time and effort going to these events all over the world, and yeah, more of them doing better is definitely great.
Okay, so uh, the question still remains the same. Why to start another SEO event? Why?
Well, so when we started the SEO event, there wasn't a lot around. So we, during COVID, I started out an online summit, and we had a ton of following. So we had, after a couple of years, we had a following of about 13,000 people. So we had a really great list. We had a lot of people that have been to our events online. And as soon as COVID stopped, there was no events. And I was very eager to get back into the world of events. So I figured, let's just do this thing in person. And yeah, we started out. The question people often ask is why Saigon?
It's
Logical
the
reason
question.
The logical reason was I was here. I was stuck in Vietnam for a lot of COVID, which was great. But I was here, and there's a few things I've learned over the years. One of the big benefits from doing events in places that are a bit further from particularly English-speaking countries is that when you go to a place like Vietnam, most people don't send half their team, right? So typically the people who show up is the business owners, it's the decision makers. So the average quality of people at the events are significantly higher. Whereas if you go to an event like Brighton SEO, it's all, and again, there's some great people, but it's mostly people who work in an agency somewhere or work for themselves or whatever. But it's often smaller. Um, it's often smaller SEOs, or it's often SEOs that still working in sort of the nitty-gritty thing. So you can obviously learn some things from them still, but my joy is definitely hanging around people who are doing business. So I love spending my time at events, networking and connecting with people. And the more people are doing business-wise, the more they're achieving, the more benefits I can help them with. So that's a core thing of sort of the Saigon Summit and why it's in Saigon. I was looking at different locations in Asia. Asia have a lot of interesting spots, but Saigon is definitely my favorite city. Some amazing rooftops, some amazing parties, and yeah, generally it's a really nice spot. I'm also very keen on making sure that when I do events, that I do them in a city that have a hub airport where a lot of planes come in and out. Because I always, even in Europe, sometimes when I try and go around to events, sometimes you need to get 2 or 3 flights to get somewhere. So doing it in a very large city that have a lot of international flights is very helpful for people, because if you're coming from Europe or the US or Australia, if you only have to change flight once, that makes it significantly more likely you go than if you have to change twice. So that's a few of the reasons, at least.
I think there are many reasons that you named here, but you said something that is very special, like the remote the place, the less people will come, and the quality of the people will be higher.
Yeah.
So maybe the next event should be in Himalayas, for instance. It's quite remote.
Well, that's a combination. You need to make it accessible enough and interesting enough for people to come, right? So one of the things we do, we always cut out tickets. We only sell 400. And we do that because, again, our goal is to increase the quality of people, not the quantity. So even though we could probably squeeze more in, our goal is to keep it at 400 attendees and just consistently year over year, keep increasing the quality of the audience so that the people who come back and the people who come for the first time have an absolutely top-notch experience.
Yes, I mean, why not to increase the tickets? The place is quite remote.
Yeah, it is quite remote, but well, it takes a while to get there. It's not remote. It's Saigon is a 10 million people city, so it's it's not that remote. But yeah, it's pretty simple. I mean, it's what we have found generally is that if we would sell more tickets, one, there would be a little bit less FOMO around it, and two, there would not necessarily, it wouldn't necessarily be more of the best people. It would often be more width in terms of the people coming. So what we generally see is that we spend a lot of time encouraging the right people to come along to make sure that the quality of the people is high. And yeah, for me, what we have built here is fantastic, and the feedback we have every year from our audience is absolutely next level. So we are always excited to keep doing what we're doing.
Yes, for instance, I will take the ticket today,
Sure.
but I'm not the high quality of SEOs you're talking about. I run a small SEO agency in Greece, maybe some international clients, not many things to show. So I'm not the top notch of the people, but I would like to come.
Yeah.
So it's
That
not. It doesn't mean that only the by reducing the number of the attendees we will attract these people.
Yeah, but it's always about getting a good mix, right? Because we have probably 150, 200 very, very good people. And with those people, there you obviously need to grow the circles around as well, right? So the more good people you have to sprinkle in between, the better. And what we see every year is a lot of people keep coming back year after year, and they all grow, right? So some of the people have been with us the last 4 years, so they have grown immensely in the last 4 years, particularly from the networking, from the event, and so on, right? So from that point of view, they're some of the people that was maybe not at a high level a couple of years ago is maybe now taking it to that level because of the people they've met, because of the relationships they've built, and what they've learned, right?
All right. So for this year, you will have 400 people in the Greek
Yes.
with an accent.
With an accent, that's
With
good.
an accent. Okay. So the next question that comes into my mind is that about the sponsors. It
Yeah.
says SEO Mastery Summit 2026 presented by SEO.domains.
Yes. Why? So that's
Why?
very simple. So we have a bunch of sponsors every year, and most of them keep coming back, which is great. And we have a title sponsor, which is SEO Domains. And the reason why we have chosen to have a title sponsor is very simple, because they pay more money, and therefore we can do a better event and get more free drinks to people, and make sure the event have better food and all this sort of good stuff. So for us, it's simply a question of having a higher tier sponsorship. So we have had some amazing sponsors from day one that have been amazingly supportive, and is always asking us how they can pay us more money to help to make the event even better. And when people do that, we try and give them the opportunity. So that's yeah, that's our focus.
Yeah, very nice. And about the agenda now.
Yeah.
The event lasts 4 days, I think.
Yeah.
Is it
So
correct?
it's set up as a 4-day event. The first day is optional. So on the first day, we do a mastermind. And the mastermind is very simple. We try and pair people up in groups that are relevant to their experience and what they're trying to learn and what they're struggling with. And on day one, you basically get to sit down with a group of people in a sort of similar mindset in a similar situation, and have a, let's call it, a heart-to-heart conversation. So sharing some of the problems you have and getting feedback from everyone else in the group about what sort of things you could do and what their thoughts are, and so on. And that's probably the most valuable business improvement opportunity that you'll see. I first started doing masterminds about 12, 13 years ago when I lived in the UK, and I have done at least 100 since then. But masterminds is fundamentally the ability both to learn from other people around you. A lot of time people come in thinking, oh, but it's just, the important thing is when I'm asking a question and people give me feedback. But you often learn just as much to hearing about what struggles other people have and what feedback they're getting and so on. So very, very often in the masterminds I've been in, I've gotten just as much value, if not more, from the other people, the challenges they have and the issues they have and so on, right? So that's day one. On day two, we have our main stage split in two, so we have two rooms. And on day two, we're doing some workshops, and they're typically a little bit longer. So it's typically about 1 hour presentations. And these presentations go into a little bit more depth about some of the key topics that are relevant. And then Thursday, Friday, we have main stage speeches, and they're typically 30 minutes each. And the reason for that is very much that, again, with the workshops, we give people a bit more time to go in depth. But what we typically see is that a lot of the things can be communicated in 25, 30 minutes. And our goal is really to make sure that we get the best out of our speakers. Some of the really, really good people coming along have a lot to share, obviously. But we're very keen on getting the best out of people and making sure things doesn't get too dry and get dragged out. So typically 30 minutes is the speaking slot on the main stage. We generally have a lot of breaks, and we generally have a lot of long breaks, and we do that for that simple reason that we want a lot of networking time. So I always tell people one of the most valuable things you can do is talk with people around you when you're at these events. We record all our presentations, and we generally recommend for our attendees to spend as much time networking and connecting and so on, because from my point of view, that is where the biggest value is. It's like you cannot compare meeting people in person with anything else, right? So generally in business and SEO and anything, the whole sort of people to people, the whole connecting with people live is absolutely the way to go. And this is this is the big benefit. Obviously, again, many people come a long way from, and you can obviously learn something from listening to some good presentations, which is key as well. But the biggest value most people have is typically the in-person connections, right? And that's why, like, we typically do 2-hour lunch breaks, and we do half-hour breaks in between many of the sessions. And that's really because I want people to spend a lot of time connecting with each other.
So the main event is just an excuse to connect the people, to do networking.
That a big part of it. Obviously, it's a good mix. The good thing about speeches is they often give people something to talk about. So if someone have a talk about AI, or if someone have a talk about content or links, it gives people a really good starting point to, hey, what did you think about this? Oh, we don't do link building like that. We do it totally different. And so it's always great starting points, and it's great discussion points between people. And that's one of the key things as well.
Right. So I found you. We met first time in the Chiang Mai SEO conference 2025. The first time I thought you were there, it was in 2018 or earlier.
Yeah, probably 17 or 18. I don't actually remember the first year, but yeah, something like that.
The first time I went there was back in 2019. For me. Then I left because I had a friend of mine that recommended me to go to the affiliate world expos in Dubai, Barcelona, with 4,000 people, 3,000 people. And how about this? Why they accept so many people? And I met very, very high quality people there. And the ticket was a bit more expensive. You know that.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, I think affiliate world generally is different, right? I think the world of SEO is definitely a little different from the world of affiliate. I'm definitely personally less a fan of these sort of big trade shows with hundreds and hundreds of sponsors and so on, right? Like for me, again, as I said, the core thing is connection. And the way I often evaluate events is, the average person I meet, how are they like to talk with? Am I excited about the conversation? And the reality for me is when I go to an event like Affiliate World, I mean, they do some great events, but when I go to an event like Affiliate World, I talk to a lot of people that I have nothing in common with nothing particular to talk about, right? Whereas when I go to places like Chiang Mai or Saigon, I talk with people who often have a much stronger relatability. It's often much more similar levels and so on. So I would say that's the biggest difference, if you will. I generally think, I mean, that particularly in the US, they have a lot of these, I call them trade shows, but they have a lot of these events where you have hundreds of sponsors, and most days you just kind of walk around between sponsors. It's a very different way of meeting people, in my experience, than if you go to some of these good SEO events like Chiang Mai and Saigon and so on. It's a very, very different way of meeting people. And I believe one of the things that I focus on a lot, at least, is to make sure that the culture in our event is very friendly and it's super easy for people. Even if you're there the first time, it's super easy to get to know people. It's super easy to connect with people and so on, which is one of my core philosophies. And again, as the host of an event, I will happily stand on stage and tell everyone, come talk to me. Because again, I believe as a host, part of my responsibility is to make sure everyone feels welcome and everyone is, getting well connected and so on. So I put a lot of effort into shaking everybody's hand and saying hello to everyone and making sure that things are a great experience.
Yeah, that's one thing I would like to add as a notice. The first time I went in Chiang Mai SEO back in 2019, before COVID, I didn't got it. I went there for 4 days only. I lived in Desert Princess, another 4-star hotel that is like Marriott, and I didn't mix with the people. I didn't change exchange numbers with no one. I didn't got it. I felt, how can I say, very remote from the English speaking people, the Americans, from Craig Cabell, from Matt Diggity, and I didn't know why. So I had to redo the seminar to come back in 2025 and to be open to stay in a hotel with a traditional hotel, not a 5-star hotel. Then rent a motorbike there, eat foods from the stalls, start mingling with the people. And I don't think that I understand it completely right now, but it was more useful for me to stay longer, 10 days, but it wasn't enough. So, what is the advice for the first comer in the conference? Are you focusing on attracting more new people or recycling the old ones? Because another thing that I saw in Chiang Mai is that they are recycling the 98% of the people, 95.
Yeah, I don't think it's that many, but our goal is typically about 40% of people, 40 to 50% of people have been there before. Maybe not the year previously, but at a previous event, right? So you always want new blood, because if it's always the same people, that makes it less exciting, right? So you definitely always want some new people in between. It's definitely good to have people that have been around for a while, and that helps when you're building culture of an event. When you have people that know what to expect and how things work, it really helps make things flow, and it helps make sure people are being greeted the right way. And like my sort of personal focus, as I said, is always making sure that even if someone is there for the first time, they feel super welcome and so on. And I do believe that the attitude generally of our event is very welcoming and very friendly. And that's a culture that you sort of build over time, right? Both obviously from your own personality, but it's also built because a lot of people have come there, they have felt it themselves, and therefore they treat other people the same way, right? But yeah, definitely important to get new people along. Also perspectives, right? Like if you're always hanging around with the same 5 friends, you always get the same perspective. So new people, it's great to see, and it's always good to see. I love when people do things differently. I love when people found new weird ways of making money, or new weird ways of doing things, right? That's really cool. And we have every year, we always have a bunch of new people who come in with lots of surprises and so on. So that's fantastic. But yeah, just in general recommendation, I would say definitely come a couple of days before if you can. before the event starts for two reasons. Both if you're traveling far, it's not ideal to have jet lag. So the first day you're often a little bit difficult to sleep and so on. So a couple of days early is definitely a benefit. We also use the Hoover event app, which is fantastic because a lot of people, not just from the official event, but people themselves can also go in and schedule sort of meetups. So they can go in and schedule lunches and breakfast and dinner.
What app will you are going to use?
It's called Hoover.
The same app.
Same as in Chiang Mai, yeah. So, and Hoover is it's a great app because it enables people to schedule these meetups, and you know, again, you don't have to necessarily just follow the agenda of the event, right? You can go and schedule your own meetups. You can schedule your own things. Last year we had a bunch of people the day after the event, they went and did a tourist sightseeing and so on. So there's a ton of stuff that you can do.
I think there is an event still going on in Chiang Mai right now on 24th with motorbikes.
Yep. A lot of the time with these events, there's events both way before and way after, right? So it's exciting, and it's a really good way to meet people. What I tend to say, like I go to a lot of events, so I know a lot of people, but typically when I go to events for the first time, I really like coming in a day or two early, because you'll often find smaller groups of maybe 5 or 10 or 20 people, and it's often when you don't know anyone, it's often easier to get to know people in smaller groups, and then you feel a lot more comfortable when you walk into a room with 400 people, right? Like if you walk to a room with 400 people on day one and you know no one, that can be very scary for some people if they're introverts, like I am at least. But when you get to know a few people up front and so on, that makes the whole experience a little bit easier. So
yes, this thing happened to me the first time in Chiang Mai. I was intimidated because I just came to the point that it started, opened the door, and I saw 800 people there. And I was the only one from Greece, and I felt, the English people say blimsy. How do they say? Felt alone.
Yeah.
Okay, and do you believe that 2 days before is enough? Because someone from Europe, especially, I think that many people come from Europe and the States. The trip takes 1 day, 24 hours.
It totally depends what you can afford, right? Like, and there's two things in it. That's because a lot of people have families, a lot of people have different things they have to do. A lot of people are working hard, right? So it definitely depends on what you can afford to take out of your calendar.
How many days are the optimum, in order to start workshops?
I would say maybe 10 days in total is probably not bad, or 8, 9, 10 days is probably a good time. Particularly, again, depends who you are, what you're excited about, right? If you love touristy stuff, if you want to go check out the city, find a couple of people and go and try out them things.
Okay, 10 days is the optimum, I think.
Yeah, that sounds fair.
Okay, and some final questions. But what would be the main agenda? Would it be Black Hat SEO for this year? It would be SEO testing, AI. What would be the main agenda?
We are generally trying to go very broad. So when we started out, like we generally touch on local SEO, we touch on e-com, we touch a little bit on some Black Hat, we touch a little bit on content sites and so on. My whole philosophy is we can learn a lot from everyone. I don't niche down to a particular area of event, because very often the combination is what makes it exciting. And again, a lot of e-commerce people is used to being around e-commerce people, so meeting other people is great. Same with anyone, right? So we do try and have sort of pretty broad spectrum of the type of SEO. Obviously, there will be some AI conversations, because AI is big and it's popular. But at the same time, we also don't want everything turning into an AI event just because it's big right now, right? So SEO is still very valuable for many people, and it's still a great traffic source to bring in a lot of money. So we want to make sure that we keep sort of honing that. And I think we've heard SEO is dead many times. I would say this way: we have never made as much money from SEO as we have this year. So it's there's always opportunities, right?
Okay, so your Matt Singers is still in SEO. He's doing affiliate marketing, that stuff.
Not so much affiliate, no. Mostly because we run a bunch of real businesses. We're mostly generating. What I found is that when running agencies is great, but it's more fun if you can help yourself make money. So we definitely do very well on SEO for quite a few of our brands. So that's that's very beneficial.
Okay. And one more thing I would like to ask. For instance, someone that comes from the first time, what is the main things you have to notice? 3 things.
Yeah, I would say it sounds easy. Don't be shy. What I would say is, and what I do. So whenever I go to a brand new event where I don't know anyone, I know very few people. I have a couple of core things I do. Whenever I stand in line somewhere, I always just try and say hello to people in front of me or behind me, and just say, why you're here, what made you come to this event, and just start a little bit of conversation. The other thing I've always found is sponsors always want to talk. Even if you're not buying, they're always eager to talk, right? So a lot of events I go to, I always go around, talk with the sponsors and so on, because that's a good way to get some connections. And I very often when you actually talk to sponsors, like a place like Brighton SEO, some of the sponsors are often the best people you'll find, right? So there's often some very high level people in the sponsor booth, and you can have some really good conversations because they're very eager to talk to you. Doesn't mean you have to buy, and doesn't mean you have to put yourself under pressure. But that's, for me, that's some of the easiest ways to sort of get started with conversations. And one question I like asking people, so when I build a little bit of a relationship, is say something like, hey, I'm looking for people doing this sort of thing. Would you happen to know anyone you could introduce me to? Because a lot of the time that there's people at these events that know a lot of people, and I love doing it when I meet people, right? Like, but it's totally okay to ask people. It's also totally okay. Like for most events, there's a bunch of volunteers around and so on. It's totally okay to say, hey, I don't know a lot of people here. Do you know anyone that would be cool for me to meet? Right? That's totally okay. Yes, it is a little bit scary as an introvert to do this sort of stuff. But again, business, networking, relationships is the big differentiator in how much money people are making. So if you want to make more money from SEO, it's one of the best ways.
Exactly. How can someone become a speaker?
So our speaker
Are you a
slots
speaker? Will you be a
quick.
speaker? Will you be a speaker?
I might. I haven't decided yet on that. But at SEOmasterysummit.com, we have a speaker application. They have all the slots have been filled out for this year, but we already have application coming in for next year. So
maybe 28, maybe 2028.
27 definitely still have some open slots. So yeah.
What are the criteria to speak?
So the key thing I look for more than anything is actually speaking skills and ability. So there's some people who are very smart, but they haven't learned how to communicate well. And if you're not great at communicating what's in your head to people around you, then they're not going to benefit much from hearing you speak, right? So the core focus from us is generally finding people who are good speakers. I recommend to a lot of people who wanted to get into speaking, I recommend they go to something like Toastmasters or any other sort of public speaking organization to try it out and do a little bit of speaking. Because reality is, if you stand on a stage for the first time in front of 400 people, you are most likely going to have not the most exciting time of your life, right? So the more you practice, the more you learn, the better you get, the more likelihood that you get to talk in front of a lot of people at some of these bigger events.
Yes, but maybe this criterion is a bit exclusive to the non-native English speaker, like the French, because we have a huge French community that is not being represented in the events.
We already
Maybe
have one French speaker, so
one out of 10.
at least one. So what I would say is, again, like our goal is obviously to make sure the audience have the best experience possible, right? So I'm also not a non-native. I'm also not a native speaker, so I've
Really?
definitely had to learn as well. But the key thing for me is to make sure the audience get a great experience, right? So key things is definitely on the practice side of things. Like I spent about, before I ended up speaking myself, I spent about 5 years practicing public speaking, doing a lot of speaking at smaller events and so on. So I spent a lot of time, I invested a lot of time and effort into learning to speak before I started doing it, right? So yeah, and definitely it's a possibility, right? But again, there's many people, obviously, at these big events, there's many people who want to speak. But again, we need to find people who have, one, something good to share, and two, have the ability to share it in a way that's interesting for people to experience.
Okay. I still have many questions, but we have to to finish it the
Yep,
live right now.
all good.
But do you want something to add before we close?
No, I think it's good. I'm excited to see more Greek people at the SEO Mastery Summit. And I have a bunch of good friends besides yourself. So we have a couple of good Greek people that are hopefully going to come along as well. But yeah, I'm super excited to see everybody. And yeah, thank you very much for hosting me and the podcast today. It was a great chat.
Thank you very much, madssingers, for having you and this great conversation. See you at the SEO Mastery Summit.com 2026 in Saigon or Ho Chi Minh. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's Yannis Divramis SEO International. And we will have more and more other things to speak about SEO and the SEO community.